The GPU market at the moment is it's in a bit of a rough state. Obviously, prices are kind of out of control, uh, particularly on the new Nvidia and the AMD stuff. Both are pretty bad. I would say Nvidia is possibly worse just because of abject lack of stock in just about everything they have at the moment. This is the card I'm currently running, a 3060 Ti. It's getting kind of it's still a decent card for 1080p and some 1440p stuff. But I've been using it for 4K, and obviously it is starting to really struggle with that 8 gig of VRAM. I got this in, was it 2021 or 2022? It's been a fantastic performance. It wasn't the card I wanted. I originally wanted a it was a 3070, but when I got this was during, I think it was during COVID, I believe. So the prices were off the scale. They were just like just insane. I mean, this came in at this. I think I must have paid about £200 more for this one. It actually was worth. I think it was about £450, £500. I think I paid £675 for this. So, but at the time, the 3070 was £900. So, and it's just it was mad. It was mental during COVID. Prices on everything. PS5 was the same thing. It took me 19 attempts to order it and add it to my basket because everybody wanted them, and everyone was locked in. Luckily, I've been quite lucky in some regards with certain stuff. Obviously, we're on what 5,000 series cards now, and to be honest with you, the only cards in that lineup from Nvidia that are actually impressive are the 5070 Ti, which, well, impressive. It's an okay upgrade. Obviously the 5080 and your 5090, but obviously the prices I'm not I don't buy cards at that price range and caliber on it. I don't really need that level of power. But so yeah, it's been mental. It really has been bad. The market has been rough. Most of the cards are not at MSRP. So that's I was going to get a 5070 Ti, and that was coming in at £890 for a card that on MSRP should be £729, which yes, a lot of money. I was sat there thinking about it, and I was ready to pull the trigger on it. And I was like, I need something new. I need something with a lot more VRAM because I played Space Marine 2 on this, and 70% of the time it was okay, but there were some cutscenes where the game would just freeze up or lock up. It might have been because I was also streaming it. It's quite possible, but I'm not really sure. So I felt it was time for an upgrade, and like everyone else, I was looking and looking, and I was like, I just don't want to pay nearly £900 for a 5070 Ti. And the ironic thing is that Nvidia have always been dominant for many, many years now, and AMD have been playing second fiddle, I guess you could say. But what's happened with AMD's new cards is they really have hit the ball rolling. Really, the 970 and the 970 XT are fantastic cards for them for the money. If, and this is a big if you can get them at MSRP or just over. Because I mean the 5070 is a joke. If you look at the performance benchmarks, the only thing it's doing really, really well in is basically ray tracing, which is Nvidia's butter and bread, I guess you could say. They're always good at that anyway. And ray tracing is impressive. But the cheapest cards I can see for them, you're talking, I think I saw the MSI Trio at £700. But I mean, I think the comparison is 970 to 5070, 97 Radeon or Radeon 970 non XT compared to the 5070, and then the 970 XT, 5070 Ti, and to be honest with you, that card is not that far behind the 5070 Ti, which is a card that's going to cost you. And again, MSRP is always important in this situation. It's going to cost you a good £150 to £200, if not more, probably more, in fact, for that kind of level of performance. Now, obviously, there are things to be said that the Nvidia stuff, they have probably better features, to be honest. And I haven't been on an AMD card since the Radeon or Radeon 7850. I think I got that in like 2012. It was a really cheap card. Well, cheap, it was about a couple £100. And that was a 1 gig card, I believe, with a a plastic cooler, so it wasn't premium in the slightest. So I looked on Amazon. I kept looking, scan, overclockers, all your usual sites, overpriced or in stock in 2 months or a month or a few weeks time, etc. And then I just about given up. I was like, I'll check Amazon one more time, and the Sapphire Pure White or Sapphire Pure and the Sapphire Pulse came up. Now the Pulse came in, and these are not far off MSRP. Came in well a bit over, but not bad, not stupidly over. I would say more of a sort of a bit over on the AIB prices, but it was 619 and 634.99. And so, given that, I was like, this is too good to be true. If I don't go on this offer, it'll be weeks or months before I can get one. So I managed to purchase this, the Sapphire Pure 970 XT. So 1440p card, but it will do 4K in most of the benchmarks. I've watched a shit ton of benchmarks. It did probably too many benchmarks, to be honest. It's a very, very nice looking card. My only issue with this is that I've only got a 750 watt power supply, and it recommends bare minimum 750 or greater. So I'm unsure whether or not to actually put it in my system and see if it will run. Because I've done a PC part picker check on it, and it says of all my parts, my PC should be running 613 watts. So that gives it some headroom. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, the worst I can do, I can put it in and see what it does. But I want to get an EVG power supply, but they don't have any in stock anywhere, which is aggravating. So I haven't decided. But anyway, we'll do an unboxing of this new card. This is a free slot card as well. As I said, came in at £634.99. Now, I was a bit hesitant for, is this legit? Because it came from Amazon. It wasn't a third-party seller either. So I was wondering, am I going to get the real deal? Am I going to get, like, during COVID, they were getting PlayStations that had PlayStation boxes with, like, toasters in them. But it all appears to be legit. But we'll open up, and you can see it for yourself. So, as you can see, obviously I haven't taken the plastics off yet. It's a chunky boy. 2 DisplayPort, 2 HDMI. It's a free slot card, so I'm going to have to make some adjustments in my case. As far as I'm aware, that lights up. Kit Kat, how's it going? 2 8-pins on the power slot, which is good, because I wasn't that keen on the having was it the 12-pin, because it's a lot of the NVIDIA cards, some of them have been burning out and stuff, which is not good at all. And also you've got your RGB out there, so you can hook it in straight into the motherboard, and I assume that then gives you that little, there's your RGB lighting. I went for it because I've got a white case, and I've been kind of a bit more aesthetics, I guess, kind of wanted a bit more vibe on the aesthetic side of things. But this is a chunky old boy, this. 16 gigs of memory, so it's going to be certainly more ideal for 4K than a 5070. The 970 also has 16 gigs of RAM. So it's going to do better for 1440p and 4K, probably with a bit of upscaling from FSR. I just hope that AMD bring in FSR 4 to more games, because everyone's saying FSR 4 is up. It's not far off DLSS in terms of quality. Ray tracing, this is a massive jump for AMD. It's not quite still NVIDIA performance, but barring path tracing. But I believe it's either the 970 or I think it's the 970 or this is actually faster in ray tracing in a lot of games where NVIDIA would normally be superior. If you look up, there's a load of Centric PC. There's loads of different people. Maybe people have done reviews on this stuff. But in that, like, the 12 gigs of RAM is really it's if you want to run max out, you're going to struggle. This isn't that far behind a 7900 XTX. It's just better ray tracing performance, not quite as fast in raster. But I was sort of thinking it was either this or a 5070 Ti. And though I would have preferred a 5070 Ti, you know what? I want performance for dollar. You know, I want good performance for the money. And this, I guess we'll see. This could give AMD the leg up they've needed for a long time to actually claw back some market share, because I think Nvidia have really dropped the ball this generation. Their technology and their innovation is still incredible, but I think they've become stagnant because they are. It's like a PlayStation. When you think of game consoles, PlayStation is the first thing you think of. Even though I've got a Series X sat right next to it, and I don't really have an X, it's because my brother's more Xbox, so he plays on that when we do play. So that's the reason I got it. But generally, the PlayStation is kind of, it's the more mainstream system, and it's the same with the AMD and Nvidia cards. The Nvidia stuff is more, it's what everyone thinks about when you say, oh, graphics card, oh, Nvidia, of course, the way it's meant to be played, that kind of stuff. So I mean, we'll see how this goes. I've got to download the drivers. I think I'll get away with a 750 watt. I've got an EVGA 750 GQ gold power supply in there currently. So it's possible this will run, but I still probably will get another power supply just to cover my bases. 850 probably right now. Like, I can't get an EVGA power supplies. Not off Amazon anyway. They've got Be Quiet, Ventru, which I've never heard of. Corsair, but Corsair are charging a good premium as they always do. So I guess we'll see. But I'm excited to see how this does. I'm going to do some performance benchmarks on my old card before I take it out of the system, and I will then do a comparison with this. Obviously, it's going to be bags more performance, obviously double the RAM, but you know, people like to see that sort of stuff, see what the generation uplift, the uplift on the Nvidia stuff though is 5070 Ti is okay, and then upwards obviously is a bit better, but the 5070 is a joke, the performance. In fact, the 4070 is actually faster in some of the games and some of the benchmarks. The only thing, well, one of the things the 50 series has the advantage of is like they've got 4 times, is it frame generation and stuff, but from what I've read and from what I've seen, people are saying it's good, but it introduces quite a lot of latency, and the games, though it says it's running at 130 frames a second, whatever it may be, whatever the frame rate and resolution is, there's a lot of latency coming in. So, and it'll be probably the same with this. I know this doesn't run, is it Myth Wukong? It's one of the games I saw. It just struggles a little bit with that, but I think that's like a Dark Souls game, which isn't really my bag anyway. But they're back and forth, to be honest. But competition is always good in the market. I just hope Intel come into the fray with some more stuff. Get their GPUs sorted out, because the more competition, the better. Because right now, PlayStation is totally dominating the market. Xbox is, I wouldn't say non-existent, but there's not much going on with Xbox. Everything on an Xbox is going to PlayStation and PC. So, and yet they're making a next generation Xbox, which makes absolutely no sense at all. If you're going third party like Sega did when they did obviously GameCube, I don't understand why you'd make a console. It's a complete waste of time. But they're going for a different market, I suppose. They're totally different, verging in different directions. Anyway, getting off the console rant. So look out for a video on some performance benchmarks on this. I haven't got the latest games, so I can only benchmark the games I've got. What have I got on the Space Marine 2 is the latest one I've got. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village. I have also done Sonic 1 comparisons on there for the 5 different collections of videos. So if you enjoy that kind of content, have a check it out. And appreciate any comments. And good luck trying to get hold of these cards. Hopefully it will improve in the next couple of weeks, and then everyone can get something they actually want. But anyway, peace.